Okay, hello, good morning. Hi. All right, so my name is Briana Leong. Sometimes my friends call me Bri, and today I want to talk about what I've been doing since the beginning of this year, going out on solo dates, and how going out alone can shape culture. Okay, so hi, my name is Bri, and every week I bring myself out on a solo date. This is the opening line of a video series I've been doing since January 2025. So the formula is this. Every weekend, I would clear out my schedule. I would pick something nice to wear. I would pack a book, my journal, maybe a little snack, and I would do precisely that. I would go out and date myself. So it could be a space I want to explore. It could be an activity or an experience that I want to do. So while I'm out there, I would film my solo date. I would go home, edit it, and I will post it online. And that has been how I've been able to grow from just 500 followers to today a combination of 14,000. And also from 0 views to I think I would add up to 500 or 600,000 views for all the videos combined. But I want to give everyone the story of how it started. So I only started doing this year, but before that, this was what was going on last year. So I have a want to go list on Google Maps. Anyone here uses Google Maps and save things? A lot, right? So I see a cafe I like, I save. I see a park I like, I save. I save. Thousands of little flags, but I actually never go to any of them. I also have an Instagram collection. I see a nice event, I save. Ooh, very cool workshop, save. Ooh, party, very nice, I save. But I also never go. I just save only. So my list is also very big. And sometimes when I feel a bit motivated, I will text my group chat. I'm like, guys, this Sunday, very interesting workshop. Anyone wants to go with me? Then my friends will say lah, busy, cannot, not free, need to term boyfriend, things like that. Okay, so or somebody will say, no, let's go for brunch. So in the end, I became someone who is like always longing. I wanted to do all these things, right? That's why I saved it. But I never really do it. I just wait. Wait for what? Wait for the right time. Wait for when I'm free. Wait for someone to turn money. And I never make it happen at all. So that is until last year when I read this book. It's called The Artist's Way by J.R. Cameron. It's basically a 12-week program. The book is the material to help people rediscover and reconnect with their creativity. So there are many things about the Artist's Way that I will not go into, but there's a very important thing in the Artist's Way. It's called the Artist Date. So it's the homework that you have to do if you want to follow this program. And the Artist Date is basically this. Every week, you have to bring yourself out. And the point of going out is to try new things, to explore things, and to rediscover things. But there's one very important rule for the Artist Date, is that you cannot bring anyone. You have to go alone. So I saw this book and I was like, okay, that's perfect. I am going to do the Artist Date every single week for the whole year of 2025. I made it my New Year resolution and I said like, okay, I will document it and I'll post it online to keep myself accountable. And also because I always wanted to make content, but I never really got into it. So this was January, first week. I did bring myself out on a solo date, even though it was very uncomfortable. I went to a chair exhibition called Please Have a Seat by this group of curators called R+. So it's very interesting because although it's an exhibition of chair, it's not just a nice chair. What they did during this exhibition is they mapped out the evolution of our popular culture. So on the top left corner, in the 30s and 40s, it was World War. So the chairs at time was very practical because people were in war, right? And then you see the squealy chair and also the hard cone chair, that was from the 70s and the 80s because it was optimism. People were feeling excited about the future and the chairs became like bright and vibrant. And then the middle one at the bottom is when we entered the internet era. So everything was about connection and fluidity, and that affect how the chairs looked. So the chairs were a reflection of the times in our life as a society as a whole. So I made this video, I turned this into a video, and I continued. Week after week, I make video. And before I know it, suddenly people are like, hey, you're a content creator. I mean, I never planned it, but somehow it became that. So although this story is like very simple, right? Oh, okay, you read a book and then you go out on date and then you film and then you become content creator. I want to talk about like what happened in the beginning when I started doing this. I actually felt really bad. I felt really bad that I didn't invite my friends to go with me. I felt very bad that when they say go brunch, I decided to say no, because there's something I want to do. I also felt really, really guilty because I thought maybe I should spend my weekend doing work, be productive. Maybe I should touch up my PowerPoint for Monday meeting. I also felt sometimes very unmotivated. Sounds very easy, go out. But sometimes I really sign up for the workshop. Let's say I want to do solo date workshop. Workshop starts at 12 o'clock. 11 o'clock, I'm still in bed. I don't feel like doing. Very lazy, very lazy drive there. And then even when I'm driving, I feel very anxious. Because a lot of the places I go, it's very new to me. I've never been to Ampang, for example. Never tried making pasta, for example. It makes me anxious. It's not comfortable for me. And I also feel very self-conscious. Sometimes I've been on a solo date before where I just eat myself. But everyone around me was in a group. So I was like, are they going to think I'm a weirdo? Are they going to think I'm very pathetic, eat alone? And the worst thing was filming myself, the camera.
Please.
I feel so cringe. I was like, you're going to think like, who she thinks she is, take her phone and just walk like that. So all this noise in my head, and it was terrible. It was really, really difficult. But I also went back and really asked myself, I said I wanted to make it my resolution. I said I wanted to make it a video. Is that more important? Because sometimes when you have an uncomfortable feeling, it doesn't mean that the experience is bad. It just means that you're very, very new to it. So I told myself, you've been saying for this so long already, you want to do this. I kept pushing, and week after week, it became a bit easier. Okay, I started overthinking less. I started ignoring the people around me and just focus on the experience. And I did had some very, very beautiful solo dates. I'll share some examples. So this is Kuala Lumpur Reads. They are basically a community that gathers at Lake Gardens every Saturday to read together. No need to talk. You just show up there, you put your Mac, you open your book, and then you can read. And it's very nice because it's in the park, there are trees and there are birds. And perfect for introverts lah. If you don't like to talk to people, then you can do this. Okay. So when I went there, this Facebook page had about 1,000 followers. I'm not sure what happened, but when I posted this video, from February until now, they now have 22,000 people following them. And please feel free to join. It's a really lovely experience. The second one is I also went to a film screening. I thought like I wanted to watch movie, but I didn't want to go to a cinema. So I went to this place called Cry Room. It's in PJ. Every Wednesday, they have this initiative called Cup Potato Films, and they will film movies. And it's very special because they do special curation. So maybe 1 month is about human encounter with the unknown, all about the UFO and aliens. Maybe another month is about heartbreak. Then all the heartbreak movies will come. So it's very interesting because it's in a shop lot. It's a very cozy area, and they choose films that you don't usually see on mainstream cinemas. And another solo date I want to highlight is a clothes swap. So there's actually a non-profit called Fashion Revolution. They are trying to promote slow and sustainable fashion. So what they organize is a clothes swap. Every clothes swap, all the girls will bring the clothes that they don't want. They pile it in a room, and then you can just take whatever you want. So it's a way to help you utilize the clothes that you don't wear anymore. Maybe someone will like it. If you need something, you don't have to buy it. You can take it from the pile. So it's very, very interesting, and it's for a very, very low cost. So although I go out to all these dates and I start having like very interesting experiences, very interesting ideas, I met a lot of inspiring people, I think the biggest change is the relationship I have with myself. So the first one is alignment. I started to listen and prioritize what I wanted. For example, I tried to do food content before, but I'm not a foodie. I actually don't get a lot of joy from eating. I get a lot of joy from ideas, culture, arts, and I decided to focus on that instead. Right? So I listen to myself and I prioritize what I want. It doesn't matter, if my friends ask me out or whatever. I have other times where I will spend with them. But just for 1 week, 1 day in a week, can I spend it with myself doing the thing that I said I would do? Okay, so alignment back to myself. And the second thing is also action. Right? Sometimes it's not just enough to know what you want, but to take action. So even if I am uncomfortable, I believe that I will self-regulate. I will go to a corner, maybe take like a 5-minute break, tell myself it's okay, breathe. or when I feel very uncomfortable in a date, I tell myself that I can figure it out. When I edit the video and I feel like my video is terrible, I will tell myself it's okay, first video, second video, third video. So I realized that in this process of alignment and action, I started to trust myself more. I know who I am, I know what I'm trying to do, and it's okay if I'm not there today. I can slowly get wherever I want to go. And this is so important because as I'm slowly going out on solo dates and I meet people, I realize that all the people I meet who are inspiring in my solo dates have these two characters. Okay? The favorite song, your favorite song, is written by somebody, right? The cafe that you think is very cool. Somebody had the idea, they believe in their idea, and they decided to make it happen. So I've met so many interesting and inspiring people during my solo dates. I'll introduce some of them. So this is Katsu. I met her because I went to an indie bookstore in KL called Tokosu. So everybody will tell you that bookstore is a dying business, yeah? But that didn't stop Sue from starting her own bookshop because she likes books, she believed in the power of knowledge, she believed in the power of words. She could have just opened any conventional bookstore, sell young adult novels, because that's the best-selling one, right? But no, she decided that her bookstore will have a heavy focus on zines. So zines are all these like small magazines, are self-published. So she decided to make that her bookstore. She listened to herself and she took action. And then there is, this is also an acquaintance. So this is Guha Humana. He's a very, very young musician. So we all know that music is very competitive. If you tell your parents, Asian parents, you want to make music, they'll be like, no lah, no future. But that didn't stop Guha Humana from making his own album. It's a full album. You can search on Spotify. You can listen to it. It is also in the genre of psychedelic folk rock. So niche, right? So one day, Guha Humana, he, exploring the city, he went to a gallery, very nice in Bukit Tungku, all the trees and a nice area. He just went up to the gallery managers and said, can I launch my album here? Can I do an album listening party? And they said yes. That's how I actually met him. I went to his album listening party. I'm like, whoa, very cool. So listened to himself and did the thing that he said he would do. And this is finally my friend Beth. I also met her through a solo date. A lot of artists have formal education. Usually artists, they'll have a degree in fine arts and things like that. But Beth is a self-taught artist. And a lot of artists will be like, oh, no focus on technique, brush. For Beth, her art is just fluid art. She just pour paint on a canvas and then she just swirl around. So she doesn't really fit your traditional artists who have a fine art degree. Her art, some people will argue, is not art, just pour paint only. But doesn't matter. Beth believes that she's an artist. She calls herself an artist and she believes in her art. And that's very inspiring. I believe that when I look at her stuff, I really feel very inspired. Okay. So when I started the solo date content, I thought that maybe, okay lah, some people would think it's cool lah, because Malaysia usually food content does very well, or skincare. It's actually, I don't really see a lot of people doing art and cultural stuff. I thought that maybe some people would think that it's cool, maybe a few people, but beyond my wildest imagination is a lot of people. I never really expected that. And I thought that people would find the recommendations cool, but I didn't expect that more people would find the solo dating cool. So I really have friends who come and tell me, I don't care what you do, like in your solo date, I'm more interested in the fact that you went out alone. So a lot of these comments. And to me, I felt a bit mind-boggling because I never made the content with the intention is, oh, I want to tell you to go solo date. I want to tell you solo date is important. It's not that. It's just I felt like I wanted to do, I made it, but somehow, because I listened to myself and took action, a lot of people resonated. So people will tell me, I'm still mastering my courage to go out alone. No, I went out alone. It was very nice. And I slowly started to build a community from there. Okay, so because I want to talk about how solo dating can move culture, right? I want to do a slight definition of culture. So culture I'm talking about here is not festive like tradition, not custom like giving angpao, not artifact like batik. I want to talk about culture as in what we all think is normal. I want to talk about culture as in what we celebrate, what we think is important in this society, what we make time for, and what we think is worth doing in this life. Okay, so what I realized is culture is so powerful because, for example, I give an example. Hustle culture, the definition of hustle culture is your productivity and your work determines your value in society. If you believe in hustle culture, you will willingly work until 10 p.m. at night. Not because you need to finish a task, but because you feel like if you demonstrate this behavior, then you are valuable. Because hustle culture, a society that values hustling. Likewise, there are things called reading culture. If you think reading is important, you will think that it's worth it to spend money on books. So Finland is one of the countries in the whole wide world with the strongest reading culture. They also have the highest library visits per capita. If you are a group of people who believe in reading, you will just naturally organize your actions and behavior that way. So what I realized is, the very one important thing here to know is culture can be changed. Culture is not a fixed thing. Culture is fluid, is organic, is dynamic. And culture starts with one person choosing something differently. Everybody want corporate job. Very valuable. I also came from corporate. I learned a lot of things. But can someone say, I don't want, actually, I want to be an artist? That is how, when one person chooses differently, you make, even if you don't actively say, I want to tell everyone being an artist is good. When you start doing that and you start embodying that, the people around you, maybe someone was actually very unhappy in their line of work. Suddenly they see you do it, you make them feel like it is possible. And that's how culture spread. In their circle, if someone changed, then that person changed another circle, and that's how it keeps spreading and spreading. And when enough of us do it, it becomes culture. So, this is why the personal is political. The personal is super, super important. The personal political is a phrase coined by the feminists from the 1970s because they believe that every personal act is not private. Every personal act you do is a demonstration. So I'll give you an example. When you take your kotak, your Tupperware to go and bungkus, to go and buy food, you think nothing ma? Just put the bag, give the vendor. You are showing the person selling you the food, the people around you, the customer behind you that climate change is real. Protecting our Mother Earth is important. Actually, you don't really think about it. You just think it's an action. But it has effects in ways you cannot see. This is my lovely friend, Navina. She's the one who started the Kuala Lumpur Reads. It started with her one person, and now every week there are like hundreds of people reading in the park. But when she decided to, every week I will sit in the park and I will read a book, when I saw that as a person scrolling on Instagram, what it made me feel like, oh, reading is very important. It's important to have parks in the city so that all of us can enjoy a place where we don't have to spend money, right? Consumerism. And I think when I went on a solo date, I didn't think so much. I was like, I read a book, I'll just do it. But when people started like messaging me and telling me like how they also go on a solo date and what it means to them, I suddenly realized my act of solo date actually also is a demonstration. So what is it trying to demonstrate? It's important to honor yourself, your free time, the things you like to do, and it's important to trust yourself. It's uncomfortable, but I trust myself that I can live through this experience, I will gain from it, and I can navigate through it, and that builds a lot of self-trust. So all our personal acts, no matter how small, actually carries a lot of weight. And my favorite example is this. In 1955, this woman called Rosa Parks, anyone heard the story before? So she was in a bus, and she was asked to leave the seat because she's a black woman, okay, in the United States. She refused. She continued to sit on her seat, and she's like, why should I move even though I'm a black woman? She did nothing, she just continued to sit. But her one action sparked a whole civil rights movement in the United States. So the personal is political, and the personal has a lot of power. So I want to end the session with one of my favorite stories in Hindu and Buddhist mythology. This is called the Indra's net. So the Indra's net believed that the whole universe is a huge web. And at every cross is a jewel holding up the web. Each jewel represents us as person. We are all connected in this huge web, and we together hold up the universe. And because it's a jewel, it will reflect one another. It's a metaphor for how when one jewel changes, that change is reflected and rippled across the whole web, the entire universe. So I really believe that culture is not like, oh, all of us do something. Yes, that's how culture is shaped. But at the most basic unit, culture starts with one person deciding to do something different. It could start in a weekend. It is what you choose to show up for. You choose to prioritize, especially when no one is watching. So yes, solo dating is a solo act. I go out alone. But the effect is not solo, as we can see in all the things I've shown. Thank you.